to, so that people who are trying to learn about numerology can hear about it and see a little bit what it means. And what I'm going to talk about today for the next few minutes is something called voids. Before I do that, to those who are new to numerology and don't know anything about it, what numerology is the study of numbers, how they relate to the world and our life and everyone around us. Each number has a meaning and an energy associated with it. And these energies educate us and teach us about life and the things that we will experience every single day. And being able to track the numbers tells us upcoming trends and things to watch out for and look out for that will help us and can work against us if we're not paying attention. Each of the numbers, I want to just tell the meaning of it. The meanings to the numbers would be the number 1 resonates with confidence and creativity. 2 is cooperation and balance. 3 is expression and sensitivity. 4 is process and stability. 5 is freedom and discipline. 6 is love, balance, vision, and acceptance. 7 is truth, trust, openness, spirituality, science. 8 is abundance, power, connection, disconnection, money, material wealth, material status. 9 is wisdom and integrity, humanity, the masses, the media, endings, conclusions, and things that are the endings of cycles. So those are the basic meanings of the numbers, just to give it to you in a nutshell. And then understanding what the numbers are, what they represent. It's more than just a number, just an abstract, oh, there's a 3, this thing called a 3. These numbers are measurements of frequencies, measurements of energies, measurements of things that we do. And where it is when you're expressing yourself, when you're communicating, when you're talking. Right now I'm talking, I'm expressing myself to you. And this is what I'm doing is the 3. I'm doing 3. The way that it's happening is being broadcast. The media is also a part of 5. So 5, this energy here, the media, the broadcasting, this is 5 energy. It relates to the press, anything that deals with like a medium of access, a medium of communication. What's 3 plus 5? 8. So my 3, my expression through this medium, through the media, 5, gives us 8, which is connection and disconnection. So I'm able to connect to you through my expression through this media platform. It will lead, what's 3 plus 5? 8, which is also connection and disconnection. So I'm able to do that. This is something I'm actually doing, and you're experiencing it. You're on the receiving end of it. So that's another way of looking at the numbers. Whenever we're doing something that is leading to our independence and us doing things that are of the self, taking care of ourself, standing up for ourselves, being independent, being standing on our own 2 feet with being the leader and doing things of an entrepreneurial aspect, we're doing the 1. Whenever we're supporting or helping other people, we're doing the 2. Whenever we're organizing and structuring something, doing any type of filing or working with any system that's regimentated, we're doing the 4. So, and that's how the numbers operate. When we're looking for truth, we're doing the 7. When we're adjusting relationships, when we're in love, when we are nurturing animals or other people, we're doing the 6. When we're traveling, we're doing 5. Doing media, 5. Lots of things mean different things to the numbers. But the reason I said that is so that you'll get the idea that numbers are just not numbers, but they're also things we do, circumstances, and the numbers are how we measure the energies of these frequencies and these actions. What I'm going to talk about is called voids. Voids are when we calculate somebody's name using the Western method, and the Western method is just assigning the numbers in the alphabet according to the order that they come in. For instance, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way until the end of the alphabet will give you, well, how many letters are there? There's 26 letters. So each of the letters would be numbered 1 through 26. And Z, since it's the last letter in the alphabet, would be number 26. Since we simplify each number by just adding the digits together to get one digit, instead of Z being 26, we would say, well, 2 plus 6 is 8. Therefore, Z is 8. Not to give you too much math on a numerology show, but Z would be 8, Y would be 7, X would be 6, W would be 5 if you're doing the alphabet. And so that's how we arrive at calculation of certain names. Now, voids are when we calculate somebody's name and we notice that they don't have a certain letter which represents a particular number. For instance, the letter B, K, and T all equal 2 in the Western method. And so what does the 2 energy resonate with? It resonates with cooperation, support, and balance, and working with other people. So what we find is if a person doesn't have a B, a K, or a T in their name, in their first, middle, or last name as it appears on the birth certificate, then that would indicate that when they're dealing with situations that are too oriented, meaning working with other people, cooperating, and working with teams and supporting and being supported in a harmonious way, there will be challenges for these individuals in that way. They may experience a little bit more challenge. A person who doesn't have 3 energy in their name, that's represented by the letters C, L, and U. A person that doesn't have those energies will be challenged when it comes to 3 energy, which is expression and sensitivity. They might find it a little bit more difficult in expressing their honest viewpoints and their true deep feelings when it's really important, and also really expressing themselves. They might be raised in a family that it may be challenging to do that in the way that they would like. So that's an indication there. So this is something that I've really been studying a lot lately, these voids. And because a person can have a really great name and have great attributes and characteristics from their chart, and we all have potentials. That's the thing about numerology. It's not something that's concrete. It's not always something that is set in stone. We don't speak in terms of certainties, but as numerologists, we speak in terms of potentialities. And in this case, it poses potential challenges in those specific areas. Something I'm going to touch on a little bit later in the series will be what we call personal years, months, and days. These are periods of time that are dominated by a particular number vibration. You may have a personal year 1 or a personal year 3 or a personal month 6 or a personal month 8. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. Put them in the message box about how to arrive at those or what it is that they are if you want me to go a little bit more in depth. But the interesting thing about it is when you're transiting one of these periods of time and you have a void in that particular energy, it has a tendency to affect the lack of that energy as it's represented in your name. So the fact that a person might lack the B, K, or T in their name when they're experiencing a personal 2-year, they may have a little bit more of a challenge than a person who does have a B, K, or a T in their name. And that's only because that 2 energetic vibration isn't distributed in their name to that in that way to help assist them with being able to use that energy. It's almost like having a knapsack full of tools but lacking a particular tool that you need on your journey. It just means that, hey, look, if you're a carpenter and you don't have a saw, how are you going to make this chair? Where you're going to have to figure out how to get a saw, or you're going to have to make a saw. So what these voids do in a person's name, they create like a vacuum of space for energy to be drawn and developed, and something to create it. Because the person has a void doesn't mean that they're doomed in that area. A lot of times what happens is that people will often seek that energy. It creates a void or a vacuum for them to fill it. Sometimes people will spend their life fulfilling a void that they have and not know why. 2 void, it's a number of companionship. They may seek that if they have that void and then fulfill it. Albert Einstein, he had a 7 void. That's the number of science and truth and mathematics, anything. It's a heavily logical number, heavily spiritual number, but he had a void in that specific number vibration in his name, and yet he was known for this. He was known for the thing that the 7 is. He was known for that which he lacked in the very beginning. And the fact that he lacked it in the beginning is shown from how he was in school. When he was in school, the type of student that he was, how he would interact with other kids. It's somewhat of a challenge when you're experiencing that and you're going through the school phase. Then there's other voids that people have had but turn it into a great asset. Then there's people who have voids and it creates a complete lack of awareness of it. So they're not even aware that they don't have it, and it's just not a concern. A person who has a 6 void may not have any concern for having a family at all. But then again, someone having a 6 void, but a 6 soul urge or a 6 appearing somewhere else in their chart will demonstrate a longing and a desire and strive for having family and developing and adjusting relationships. But that's our first segment right there. Just wanted to touch on voids. When we get back, we got an awesome guest. We're going to be talking to Yamaya Circe with Yamaya, and thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Live in the flesh, KXVS Radio.
dear students. Thank you for tuning back in. This is Darius with Divine Numerology. We are here today on this Friday afternoon. We have an awesome guest. We are here with Yamaya, who is the founder of The Light of Yamaya, and she is a certified spiritual healer. And she's going to be sharing her expertise with us. If you happen to be friends with Yamaya on Facebook, then a couple weeks back, you saw everyone doing what's called a Reiki session, a healing session. She's going to probably speak a little bit about that and also the other things that she does. But first, I just want to say, Yamaya, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really been looking forward to it. Just, kind of getting you out there so that people can know who you are and what you do and what you're here to share with them.
Awesome, thank you.
And bring on the planet, To our guests, Yamaya does healings, and we go to what's called a Reiki share, and we experience that, and that's what she does. So I understand that you're a spiritual healer, but what does that mean exactly?
So it means that basically I tap into several different things, right? So we're all energy. The table's energy, your energy, I'm energy.
Okay.
We're all energy. And so sometimes, that being said, we get bombarded with things from the elements, whether it's toxic, things that are in the air, whether it's other people's energy. If you've ever walked into a room and you can feel, if an argument just happened, you weren't there, but you feel it, that's energy that affects us in some way, shape, or form. We're affected by the foods that we eat. We're affected by our thoughts. And so it affects us at all levels, right? Spiritually, physically, energetically. And so my goal is to use the resources that I have, so my innate gifts, things that I've been taught, different resources, to get people back into their zone, get them operating at maximum health.
Yeah.
And also helping them tap into what their divine purpose is, because so many of us are living mundane lives and we want to tap into the greatness, but we don't know how. And so part of what I do is just that. Everyone has different ways of healing, just like people have different ways of learning, right? Some people learn by sight or touch or hearing. So the same thing, different people heal in different ways. So I do Reiki energy healing. I do aroma touch therapy, which uses essential oils. I do SRT, which uses a pendulum. And
I remember
Yes,
I had
we did that.
This
so
SRT.
Contacting past lives to see how that's affecting you now in this present world. Sometimes we use simple things as basic as crystals or oils or herbs to heal people. And so it's a wide gamut, and it's just kind of tapping into spirit to see what's the best thing for every individual person.
So it's different for everyone.
Absolutely.
I remember when I had that SRT session.
Yeah.
That was very powerful. What does it stand for again?
Spiritual response therapy.
Spiritual response therapy. What I remember from it was being able to tap. I found out exactly how many past lives I've lived with my significant other, with other family members. I found out a lot of interesting things about my family history that I was very surprised to have found out through you.
Yes.
Through someone who I had recently known. And, they're telling me, because what happened, you were telling me just like, oh, this and this, and your grandma said this, but I was able to go there myself.
Right.
I was actually able to be there with that and with them in present time, and it was a very interesting learning experience. That's what I got from it.
Awesome.
Especially when kind of just watching the method that you did with the pendulum work.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, what's a pendulum?
A pendulum, how do I describe that? So I use one that is made of metal. They can be made of different things. So sometimes they're made of crystals, but it's basically something that's anchored to like a string, and you program it to give you yes and no answers. And then I use a set of charts to verify things, and then I'm guided spiritually on where to go, and then messages come in, and so it's a process, but it's very powerful. I've even had people that have healed from allergies to something as serious as lupus. So it's a really great thing.
My personal experience, it was amazing when you were able to just tell me like with precision. That's what impressed me a lot. What would you say are the top 3 things that people come to you for?
Oh, wow. Okay. So the top 3, definitely Reiki.
Okay.
So I'm a Reiki master teacher in both the Sui method and the angelic method.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. And so I also teach it. But basically they come for that, the energy healing just all around. And as you mentioned, I have the Reiki share. I do that as my way of giving back to the community. People can come for free on Wednesday nights for a 7-minute session.
Okay.
And it's not just me. As you know, it's anywhere from 3 to, I think we've had as many as 8 healers on one night.
Right.
And it's super powerful, even though it's 7 minutes. It's really intense. And the group that we have is also very intuitive. So oftentimes, not only do you get healed, but you get messages, either about yourself or from ancestors. So it's a great thing. So I would say that's the number 1 thing. The number 2 thing is probably energy cleansing.
Okay.
So I would say my American following comes and wants chakra balancing or chakra balancing, however people want to say that. They come in for that alignment, whereas my Hispanic followers come in and do what's traditionally called a limpia, which is the cleansing with the egg and the herbs. And then I read the egg and tell them what's going on. So those are the top 2 things. And then the third thing is blessings. So home blessings, business blessings, taking out stagnant energy, removing any spirits from the home, re-blessing it with positive energy, and maybe giving them some feng shui tips so that they can have their home or office in a way that's optimized for harmony, wealth, health, all that good stuff.
What I've noticed in when I had, because when I went to the Reiki share, that's huge, because someone always has some insight to share with you about something in your life, like, oh, this, you need to eat more of this food, or you need to go here and look under the bed for something.
Yes.
And in the experience that I had with the spiritual response therapy, it was almost like you were accessing mediumistic abilities. Are you a medium as well?
So I do not define myself as a medium, only because to me a medium can tap in anytime, right? So I could go in right now and just pick and choose. For me, it's more of the moment. It's if spirit has a message or if ancestors have a message. So it's kind of more, I'm the conduit, and it's whenever they want. Where I feel like a medium goes in anytime, bam, can tap in, right? But I'm more whenever they're guided. So I'm more of a vessel. Okay.
Great distinction. Thanks for bringing that out. And the reason I said that is because I learned some of the things that I learned about my family when my grandma came in.
Yes, your family was very chatty. That doesn't always happen, but yes, your grandma came in, your grandpa came in, and they were very vocal.
You said they were throwing shade, or my grandma had some attitude.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, that makes sense, because I know a little bit about her from doing her numerology chart. It was really interesting what I found.
And I do have times when people want to tap in, and sometimes I'm like, not right now, and they will literally stop me in my tracks. Like, I've had lights start going on and off, things being thrown in the hallway. Like, they make themselves known. So when there is a message, there is a message.
So it's not. So you would say like a medium is someone who could tap in or tap out at will.
That's my own personal.
But the way that when it comes to you, it just comes in full force.
Right.
And they just are, hey, look, I got this message, and they need to hear this, and this is how it is.
Right.
So when this happens, it makes a person wonder if you offer any classes. When can I learn these abilities? Can I learn how to teach Reiki? Can I learn how to do any of the other things that you offer? Do you do classes?
Yes, absolutely. So while we all are born with innate gifts, many times we lose them because of society or because we have personal blocks. Sometimes we get afraid, and as children, we're like, oh, I don't want to see that, or that's scary, or your parents will say, oh, you're crazy. But we're all born with some kind of gift. And so basically I go in and I teach you how to re-tap into that gift. And then depending on what it is that you want to learn, So if it's Reiki, you know, that comes with manuals and certain amount of sessions. If it's SRT, that comes with manuals, certain amount of sessions. And then I have a couple of people that I am training to do, you know, the other things, the energy work, the tarot readings, the egg cleansing. So I have kind of people that I mentor in that area as well.
Okay. One quick question for our guest.
Sure.
And that's Donovan in the background, everybody, so you can see him. What is Reiki not?
What is Reiki not? So Reiki is not the solution to every healthcare problem, because we're not doctors, obviously, right? So that's one of the things that I always say. There's definitely a place for medicine. If you break your leg, obviously you want to go to the doctor. So it's not a replacement for all medical issues. It is not witchcraft. It is not evil.
Okay.
It is not all these things that we get a bad perception of being. You know, I've been called a witch. I've been called demonic. I've been called all sorts of things, but we're literally tapping into life force energy and the angelic realm. And so it is not things that are evil.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. If you know what, if there's someone out there and they're like, oh man, you know what, that looks cool. Thank you, Darius, for bringing her on. How do I get in contact with Yamaya? I want to get the light of Yamaya. So how
Sure.
can they contact you?
So a couple of ways. They can go on my Facebook page, which is Light of Yamaya 1.
Okay.
And that's LIGHTOFYEMAYA 1. Or they can reach me by phone at area code 928-254-1948. Or they can email me at yamayathehealer@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'm sorry, at yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
Yes.
And then what's that phone number again?
Area code 928-254-1948.
Now, I know you're always busy with lots of clients.
Yes.
But do you have any room in your schedule? Are you taking any new clients?
I'm always taking new clients. Sometimes I do have to, you know, coordinate them. Best times for me are usually weekends and evenings. And then anywhere from once in a while I'll get a 7 to 8 in the morning. But it is important to make an appointment because sometimes I am booked out for a few weeks.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any message that you feel that Stockton should hear at this time?
Yes, just stay positive. Find ways to raise your vibration. Don't let people around you get you down, and find out what your purpose is. Tap into it and be the personal best that you can be.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Stay tuned because we have another awesome guest that's coming up, and we're going to be talking about connections. All right, we stay tuned. We'll be right back.
KXVS KXVS 92.1 coming soon. KXVS.
Hello, this is Darius with Divine Numerology. Thanks for tuning back in. We have another awesome guest. We have Datrina with us today, and she's here to share with us something that she's been working on for a while. And she, along with her network, we met really on an interesting day in an interesting way over at Dragon Fairy, and it was a read. Remember how we met originally? First, before I even go into that, I just want to thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. Because what you do and what you're behind and the cause that you shared with me are things that I believe more people should know about. And, especially the project that you were mentioning to me and the upcoming event that you told me about. Mm-hmm. And for any practitioners or anybody out there who's wanting to do this or have a part in it, I think that's a great idea. But when we met, it was at Dragon Fairy, mm-hmm. and I just randomly asked. Remember how that all started?
You said, "Do you know what numerology is?"
Yeah.
Is.
And I was like, "Yeah, hey, you know what numerology is?" You're like, "Yeah, I know something about it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, what do you know about it?" And you knew some stuff about it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, somebody who knows some stuff about some numerology." And it just was kind of like that. And then we just did the reading, and then you saw how deep the numerology can actually go as far as the reading was concerned. What stood out to you in your reading?
I think what stood out to me in my reading was that everything was in alignment. Everything was in alignment with what's been going on in my life, and everything's been in alignment with just the synchronicity of things. Specifically, what stood out were very pivotal events that definitely showed linkage and really kind of supported just any evidence that numerology is the ticket. Honestly, it's just another spiritual and intellectual numerological way of identifying and understanding yourself better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was there what did you feel really got clarified? What did you feel? Because you said everything. It just made it known that everything was in alignment. Mm-hmm. What did it let you know was in alignment in particular?
So I know my life path number was number 8, and the number 8 is of power and abundance. That's not necessarily where my focuses are on, power and abundance, but I think it's all about interpreting what power and abundance actually means to you. So power and abundance, what that means to me is being able to leverage any type of influence or power you have to benefit the people around you and benefit the world. An abundance, that's a systemic impact of that power of the touch that you create in terms of ripple impacts of change just by linking with other people. So I think one piece that you mentioned, and we were talking about the spider, because I had been seeing spiders lately, and you also mentioned that kind of that network. Spiders are out there, they're kind of touching everything, and they're spinning a web, but the web is with the intent of doing good.
Right.
Basically how you leverage that. So I think that was very much in alignment right now, because I'm really just trying to identify ways to collaborate in every spectrum and every type of realm with people to really uplift and elevate each other in consciousness and in any way that will help really illuminate your sense of self to then impact the world, because
Awesome.
we have to start within, right?
Yeah. Why do you think elevation is so important right now?
I think elevation is important at all times, but I think that more people are becoming awake and aware, which is fantastic. And I think that it's important to continue that on by passing it down in generations. So we talk about nourishing our seeds and the youth. The youth are so important. I mean, we have life lessons to be able to reflect upon and and really help nurture our youth, but also the conversation around spirituality, elevating yourself, because if you can elevate yourself, then you can help elevate others. If you help elevate others, again, going back to that spider web and that network, you're elevating as one, period.
Yeah.
So all this division that we have in terms of racial disparity, systemic oppression, internal oppression, all of these systemic impacts that we've created due to a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication, and honestly, it does go back to some type of a system design, but we are all affected and impacted by that. And that's why it's really important to be aware of what's going on, aware of the source, and also work with as many people as you can to make those changes. But it starts inside.
It starts inside. So we gotta take a look at our own self first. Take the splinter out of our own eye so we can see the rafter in the brothers, or take the rafter out of our own eye and then so we can see the splinter in our brother's eye.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh, your sister's eye.
Yeah, or your sister's eye.
That's right.
Your fellow being, because we're all one.
We are.
You mentioned consciousness. Powerful word, and you mentioned it to me when we first when we first became acquainted, and it's something called conscious shades of lovely.
Yes.
Now I'm sure maybe some of us out there, that are listening, maybe we've heard about it, but for those of us who haven't, what is it? What exactly is conscious shades of lovely?
So Conscious Shades of Lovely is a group that emerged organically. Its main focus, at first we were focusing on kind of social issues in terms of how can we help make impacts of change, specifically in the female demographic. The female voice is very important. We talk about Mother Earth and the universe. Every woman gives birth to a man. It's very important. And then we translated that type of conversation into how can we help girls.
Yeah.
Because it really starts in your youth, in terms of how you see yourself, self-esteem, what you feel like your impact can be. And we started having conversations with teenage girls in the Bay Area, out here in Stockton, in different areas. And we created this group called Conscious Shades of Lovely, with the purpose of, again, taking that conversation that we just talked about, the consciousness and illumination, and you leveraging that conversation to support our youth and mentor in a way and illuminate, so that as they're growing, they are more aware and they can identify ways to help change the outside from within and just build self-esteem.
Okay.
So from there, it's now grown to more of a multi-generational effort. But we definitely want to leverage this group, or this group is actually very hopeful to be more impactful into their communities. So we have girls that are playing basketball, they're trying to get scholarships. We have girls that are very community-oriented, musically inclined. So, how many times what's that old sob story of people who, the greatest talent are probably the ones that usually never get seen?
Yeah.
So we're trying to shed light on the greatest talent and a mirror of reflection, and really be that support to say, this is what you can do, this is what we can do together, and it's going to take a multi-generational effort to get there.
Basically, you're like the sun shining light on the moon. Making, like, the sun always shines. The sun is bright. The moon, if it was not for the sun, no one would know that it was there. So you're illuminating the moon, in a sense, the moon being the feminine power.
Definitely.
And so the cause is empowering the divine feminine.
Yes. And that's not to leave our brothers out. So we are interested, and we actually have received interest from men and boys, teenage boys, because many times they're without a father. Let's think about it. A lot of the boys that are falling out of the system, or just unable to get there, or just feel a sense of worth, are those that don't have the full succinct love and home, so we, in terms of being inclusive, we want to include everyone, but we want to first take the small steps to focus on the women, the girls, and then identify different realms of way how we can include the men and bring in mentors for them, whether through motivational.
Yeah.
But all for the goal of elevation. So elevating consciousness, elevating self-esteem, elevating self-love. You can't be conscious if you don't love yourself. You can be conscious from an intellectual perspective.
Yeah.
But you aren't going to be completely integrated in a whole, in terms of what that really actually means.
Yeah.
That love aspect, right? Because if you don't love yourself, right? If you don't love yourself, how can you completely understand what love is and then be able to share that with the world?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. When you're on a plane, you put your mask on first so that you can help the other one put theirs on. You were commenting on the divine feminine, and you said, also the males too. So big time uniting the divine feminine and the divine masculine, but elevating both so that they can integrate properly. That I totally am down with that. And actually, when we met, that was I had just had a show with Beverly Adamo, who released her book, and she was talking about women of the West being the ones that would help with the world, the rest of the world's women. We're moving into a 1,000 years of the yin energy, numerologically. And Dalai Lama said that if anyone were to help the women of the world, it's going to be the women of the West. And that was very powerful. And it's all about excuse me. Whoa, what's wrong with my words today? It's all about elevation. Elevation of the masculine, elevation of the feminine, so that they can be on the same level and see each other eye to eye instead of the competition. And there's harmony, so that the unity of them can be creating something new. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
For being on the show and sharing this with us. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they? As far as this event that's happening on July 29th in this month.
Sure. So July 29th, we have our emergency food bank in Stockton. We'll actually be partnering up with Mayor Tubbs, and the event's called Christmas in July. This is for County of San Joaquin students. So we have a backpack and supply giveaway from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I would head out there and go online to Emergency Food Bank to get more information. And in terms of Conscious Shades of Lovely, if you're interested, just go to Facebook, Conscious Shades of Lovely, or Instagram, Conscious Shades of Lovely. Thank you.
Awesome. And you're looking for mentors as well as people who want to be mentored, right?
Yes.
To work and fit in the consciousness.
Yes, and people who just want to share their services as well, or insight. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for tuning in to Divine Numerology today and checking out our awesome guests. And until we meet again this upcoming Friday, stay tuned, stay posted, and stay well. Peace.
Live in the flesh, KXVS Radio, the voice of Stockton, KXVS.